He said they're out there playing rock and roll.
Hi, Charlie, baby.
Giant Felix symbol. Pointing at you. All my latent tendencies are just...
Yikes. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
That was pretty intense.
I love that video. It's amazing.
That
Thanks.
was such a good intro.
It is so dramatic.
It's very dramatic. Hello, chat. Hello, YouTube and Facebook. We're on both platforms again tonight. Welcome, guys. Sorry for the delay. Jay got herself locked out of her Mac computer and had to watch YouTube videos to figure out how to get back in. So we are here, and I'm sorry if anybody left, but we're here, and we've got lots of good stuff tonight, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Definitely.
we're all excited. Lots of crazy stuff, and I guess we're going to start with me.
Yeah.
Because I have been assigned Mr. Terry Melcher and Mr. Dennis Wilson. Now, who are these guys, you say? Well, we all know Dennis Wilson. Well, maybe not all of us do. Dennis Wilson was a member of the Beach Boys band. And Terry Melcher was a record producer. So the two kind of went hand in hand, but I don't believe that Melcher actually produced for the Beach Boys. But let's start with Terry, and let's start at the beginning, right? Terry was born February the 8th of 1942. And his mom, I never knew this, is actress and singer Doris Day. I'm not really familiar with all of her work, but obviously we've all heard of Doris Day. So he's got a very famous mother. And then his dad was Doris Day's first husband, Al Jordan. So the reason why I'm doing Terry Melcher and Dennis Wilson at the same time is because Dennis Wilson ends up introducing Terry Melcher to Charles Manson. And they go pretty deep. But he was a musician and a record producer, and he was very instrumental in shaping the California sound and like the surfing and the looking good and being outside and that kind of feel. So he wasn't really like a psychedelic, producer. He was more of the feel good kind of surfing vibe that was going on out there in California. So he met him. Let me see here. Okay, so at the time when Melcher met Manson, he was producing for Jimmy Boyd Music for A&M Records. And after the murders, this dude went into seclusion. Terry Melcher went into seclusion. And you're going to hear a lot of really kind of sad stories from these people that just came into contact with Manson and his family unwillingly or unwittingly, and ended up in either deep depression, addicted to drugs, just isolated. It's a lot of death and a lot of just destruction of lives that even weren't even involved in the murders. Did you guys find that as well with your research?
I know for the two that I'm doing tonight that, yeah, very, very similar. I don't know what happened to Potato.
I don't either. We can't hear Potato. We can see you, but we can't hear you. So Terry was named Terry after his mom, her favorite childhood comic strip, Terry Pirates. I've never heard of that. Are you okay, Potatoes?
I can hear you now. It just
Okay.
cut out for a minute, so I couldn't hear anything.
Okay.
But
I just wanted to make sure you were still there.
I'm still here now.
Okay. All right. So, let me tell you a little bit. Let's go backwards. Okay. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about Doris Day. She was an American actress, singer, and then she became an animal welfare activist. She began her career in big band as a singer in 1939. And then she had 2 number ones, Sentimental Journey and My Dreams Are Becoming Higher All the Time. Melcher was the only child to singer Doris Day. She gave birth to him when she was 18 with Al Jordan. The day, what does that mean? Weird. So they were married from 41 to 43. So they were only married for 2 years. And then she married Martin Melcher. Before his birth, his mom was already planning on divorcing. And then when he found out that she was pregnant, he insisted that she get an abortion, but she kept the baby anyways. So his real dad had really no presence in his life. He had a little bit, but not much. And then Martin Melcher adopted Terry.
Wow, that seems to be a common theme.
I know there was a lot of divorces back then. I was actually surprised. I didn't think people really got divorced back then.
I didn't think so either. I thought they just stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
So after she separated from her second husband, and maybe it was different too in the celebrity world to have multiple husbands, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That was when she married Martin Melcher, and he produced her in a lot of movies. So then Terry lived in Connecticut in his middle school, up till middle school. And then he went to California for his junior and senior years. And he went to Beverly Hills High School, 90210. So Terry was married to Therese. They got married in 1998, which is way, way, way later. And I guess she took care of him up until the end. He ended up dying of cancer. But back in the Manson days, Melcher had a 2-year relationship with Andress Candace Bergen. Do you guys know who Candace Bergen is? She was, and I'm not all that familiar with her. I mean, I know who she is. I could totally picture her, but I can't remember the name of the show that I used to watch. It was a sitcom. What was it? Does anybody know? Candace Bergen. I'm going to have to Google it because I could not think of the name of the sitcom. She was in so many shows, but there was one particular that I used to watch. Murphy Brown. Yes.
Yep.
She was like a lawyer or something. So she was Murphy Brown. If you guys remember that show. God, I haven't heard of that in so long. So it looks like now she's like a politician. But at any rate, she was from Canada. But anyways, he had a 2-year relationship with her, and they lived in the Celio Drive, which is where the murders on the Tate murders occurred, was on Celio Drive. They lived there together. So Candace and Terry had this relationship, and they lived in the murder house, and he couldn't sleep. This is before the murders. And she even, I think, wrote a book or something about it where she said, somebody said he couldn't sleep there. He was taking a lot of sleeping pills. He wouldn't go in the master bedroom. He got like really bad vibes in there. It's really a strange story.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, considering it was before that, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they suddenly moved out of Celio Drive and moved to Malibu. Like there was no planning it. Just all of a sudden he told her we're moving. So when they moved out, they put it up for rent. Or no, I think they sold it and then they put it up for rent. And then Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski rented it, and they were renting it at that time. But Manson had been to the Celio house when Terry lived there, and recorded quite a few many hours, from what I've gathered, of music with him. Like over 100 hours they recorded with Manson. They really liked him.
I didn't realize it was that much.
Mm-hmm. I didn't either. I thought they just appeased him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they'd done a little bit, but didn't like him, so they didn't really carry on.
No, I think that they really liked him, and I think that they saw potential in his music, but I think the way he behaved like he said he just could not interact with people in the right way in order to be professional. And that was what Terry wanted, was he's like, he's not professional. And back then it was really important to be professional. For example, like the Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson and them, they were so, like, they were one of the model, I guess, bands of that time that other producers and, you know, tour managers kind of mimicked the way they did things because it was so professional and put together. Every show they did was this, you know, they had it to the minute. They weren't just like flying by the seat of their pants. So it was, I guess it was really kind of, you know, more expected to be together and be able to conduct yourself in a certain manner in that time. Mm-hmm. And they just thought that Charlie couldn't fit the bill. But I think they really liked his music.
Yeah. Well, it's important in the music industry. Like, if you can't work with people, people aren't going to want to work with you. So you're not going to get anywhere.
And I think, you know, some of the artists get away with being assholes just because they're so popular already. Yeah. That they're not going to ditch them. You know what I mean? They're making them money at that moment. But to take a chance on someone new, you know, you got to know how to conduct yourself. Mm-hmm. So Terry Melcher also did have some songs of his own, I'll spare you. But he did produce some of his own music. He was in a bad car accident or motorcycle accident in 1972. And he suffered 2 broken legs, and he was almost a double amputee.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there is some really bad shit that has happened to these people.
Mm-hmm. I knew he'd had an accident, but I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, he almost had to lose both of his legs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, he ended up getting cancer, and he did die. He was cremated. And his family has his remains, I imagine. But I am not done. I'm going to play a video that's going to kind of bring in Dennis and Terry. And I'm going to be doing some commentary with it. So I'm not just going to throw a video at you and be like, hey, figure it out. Because it's bits and pieces. But trust me, it's good stuff. All right, let me go ahead and...
So many people around Manson got cancer. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Right.
From
The brain
Melcher.
cancer and what was her name?
Susan Atkins.
Susan Atkins.
Yeah, Susan Atkins.
And then Manson himself had bowel cancer.
And Dennis Rice had liver or lung cancer.
Wow.
Damn. You know, I just remembered when I share this, you guys don't hear. You're going to have to listen on YouTube, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I was reading about this, so I was like, how can we, because we were having that problem. It's because I have a Mac.
Oh.
Oh.
Mm.
The royalty does not agree with that.
Just remember, we'll be behind.
I know. I'm really sorry. I know. We'll get it straight one of these days, guys. I promise. This is super interesting though, and I'm really excited to share with you guys what I found out, because so many of these people mesh together that I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess it just speaks for itself. Let's watch. Okay. So he's speaking about Brian Wilson. I'm going to play it out for you here. Brian Wilson is the brother of Dennis. Dennis is front and center with his arms crossed. And he was the only beach boy that actually surfed. None of them didn't even like it. He was the only one that actually surfed. They were all kind of different, but he was a lot different in his personality from the other guys. But at any rate, this is his brother talking here. They're talking about his brother, Brian. His brother, Brian, was the writer of all their songs. He was the creative one. And he got really isolated and ended up not leaving his bed for 3 years. Like all this stuff is very dramatic that happened to these people. So they're talking about Brian and his condition, and then we're going to get into Dennis. Okay, so they're talking about the brother Carl. Carl got his passport taken away by the FBI, and he couldn't get to their concert. So Carl Wilson is another brother. This is my brother Carl, and this is my other brother, Dennis. So it's Dennis, Brian, Carl. So Carl couldn't get the passport. Brian's at home in bed. Can't get out of bed. Having problems. And Dennis is living his best life. And he's ready to go on the stage. Okay, so I'm just keeping... Oh, wow. Candace Bergen went out with Donald Trump when he was a teen. Oh, my God. Say it isn't so. Oh, my God. Okay.
We can't hear it.
What do you mean?
Can't hear it. It's not playing on YouTube either. There's no
Yeah,
sound.
there's no sound.
Oh my God, and I'm all commentating on it.
I've just been reading it.
It took you
playing
5
or not.
minutes to tell me.
I was reading it. I thought that's what...
Oh, are you kidding
Yeah, I couldn't
me?
tell. I couldn't tell if it was meant to have sound or not.
Yeah. What the heck? It's not letting me share it.
Oh, no.
Are
I
you
love
kidding
technology
me?
today.
Really? And I went to this platform because of this? All right, let me see if I can do it this way. It's probably going to tell me it's too large. Oh, no, it worked.
Studio. He was now becoming both
I can
physically...
hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's start over.
and spiritually more insulated from the outside world. In May of that year, though, promoter Arthur Howes had brought the rest of the group back to Britain for their second playing tour.
Just to prove what a professional type group they are and how much they think of their fans, there was a time when Carl was having a little problem with his passport, and we were opening up on the Friday night, I think it was, in Belfast, the Adelphi Belfast. And that same day, he still hadn't got a passport. And he got his passport about 12 hours before the curtain was due up in Belfast. He dashed out and hired a Learjet to bring him personally to the opening night. And he got there just in time for the curtain up and the concert.
The reason Carl had no passport was because it had been withdrawn when the FBI arrested him. He'd previously received his draft papers for the United States Services.
I got a notice to report for physical, and it was just one of those things that I never got around to thinking about or making a move on, because I just never came up, you know, and it came up.
Yeah, it came up. Okay, so you guys heard that loud and clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so like I was saying, that's Carl Wilson, the brother. Brian Wilson's at home in bed having a lot of mental problems. And Dennis and the remainder of the band are there waiting on Carl. So listen how this goes down, though. I mean, this is, remember back then that, you know, there was a lot going on politically. Lots going on politically.
And so I thought, okay, now what is my position on this? And I just applied for conscientious objector on religious grounds. We were in court many times over about a 6-year period.
6 years.
That's crazy.
6 years. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Look who's in chat.
Oh.
Real Gone Gonzo. Hey, Gons. Hope you're doing well.
Gonzo.
Hello, Gonzo. We haven't seen Gons in a long time. I hope you're doing good.
I know, it's been ages.
I know it. He called Shell the mod boss.
Oh, she changed her name.
Oh, she did, mod boss. I was like, whoa, he even knows she's the mod boss. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going here. We love you too, Gonzo.
And it really showed me a really weird thing, because I spent quite a lot of money on the thing, and somebody in a less fortunate position would have really been in trouble, you know. And that was a very strange experience to go through. But in the end, the judge was very fair, and he gave me a chance to do the alternate service that I said I would do, you know, something in line with what, you know, I knew how to do. Most of the thing ended up in the voter registration effort that we did. You know, we registered quite a lot of people. So everything, you know, ended well. But the technical and legal thing was amazing, you know. And it got to right down to the very last appeal, the very last day, the judge cooled out, and it worked, you know.
I wonder what really happened on that very last day. The judge just cooled out. I'm like, I wonder what made the judge cool out. Because he got there right before curtain up. He was able to get this figured out and get overseas for curtain up for the show. Crazy.
But I was convicted by a jury for failing to report
You hear this? He was convicted by a jury for failing to report. What the hell?
For alternate service at the LA County General Hospital, right? And it's true, I failed to report, you know.
Successful tour for the group in Britain. Meanwhile, in America, a committee which included, amongst others, Paul McCartney, Andrew Oldham, Paul Simon, Derek Taylor, Terry Melcher, Lou Adler and Brian Wilson were making plans to launch a 3-day international festival of pop to be held in late June in Monterey, California.
All right, so now on to the next scandal. The next scandal involves this festival that all of these familiar names were putting together. And you'll hear a little bit more about that, but it's basically was going to be a free show or a very low cost ticket show. And the artists were paying money to be in it. So like $100,000 per artist to get into this festival. But it was supposed to go to scholarships for kids, and it didn't. So let's keep going.
The performers not only had to agree to appear for free, but collectively had to provide $100,000 to finance the festival. Any gate receipts over that were to be used for financing music scholarships and non-establishment youth projects. Derek Taylor had been handling... So what happened?
They dropped out. I forgive them because I'm not God, and not for me really to forgive them. And they shouldn't have dropped out. They were supposed to headline Saturday night.
Okay, so then the Beach Boys ended up dropping out. Brian Wilson was one of the main guys to put this shit together, and they didn't do it. They didn't.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. And they were the headliners, so they were freaking out. All these people were like, oh my God. But I guess it ended up being successful without them, and they were like, fuck the Beach Boys.
Good.
And that was kind of when everything turned, because they were kind of still doing that surfer look. And then it was turning to more the hippie, I don't know what you'd call it. The grungier look. It went from the straight-laced, they all wore matching shirts like you see here. People weren't digging that as much anymore. It was shifting. So
it went to like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds type of vibe.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just like how the Beatles switched when they went, to their psychedelics. Everybody started doing LSD and everything changed. Like it changed literally the whole fucking world. And I never realized that. I thought this was just a recreational drug that hippies got their hands on and had fun with and free love and all of this. No, the government brought that drug here.
Mm-hmm.
And the LSD didn't start with the hippies until much later, years later. So I never realized all of this blends together. We're sitting here looking at the Beach Boys, but we're covering the Manson murders. It's so bizarre.
Well, it was because it was an entire culture thing. It was.
You're right.
Entwined.
Yep. Hey, Sister Knives.
She's a hippie.
Tough 2 days, that was. It was really tough. I couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it. Lou Adler said, What? What?
What?
I said, they won't do it.
Jefferson Airplane.
What was the reason for you not doing that?
Well, there were a lot of reasons. Carl Wilson had just been arrested by the FBI and was going through that. Dennis Wilson was going through some personal hassles himself, and I guess I was ready to go. Bruce was packed. Brian was on the board of directors of the organization that was going to sponsor it. And then Brian got sort of cold feet on the situation because he didn't really trust that the people there on that organization were going to do right with the money and everything. And sure enough, there was a scandal about that about a year or two after they'd done the show. And sure enough, not too many people were handed out scholarships and things, But a couple of people had some nice houses and things. So there was that, and I guess Brian being very into it.
And they think that's funny. Like they were supposed to raise money for kids' scholarships.
And they're laughing.
Right. People got some nice houses and cars out of the deal. Nice.
Just didn't feel it was too right. So there wasn't a total agreement in the group to do that show, so we didn't. But out of that show, that was when really all that, I term acid and grass and all that, the dope went media, went mid-America. Before that it was avant-garde a little bit, you know, the hippies, the artists, the everybody in the know, the little cliques and groups and musical groups and sort of heady groups were into it, but then it just went up, you know, mid-America, you know. So it was uncool to be too cherubic and surfy and all that, you know. It was into a whole other bag, and you had to be laid back and cool and smoke it and everything else. So, well, I think.
And that sounds like Charlie. You know, that's what people were looking for. So it wasn't hard for him, you know, to get these girls to come on, you know?
Not at all. He embraced that.
Yeah.
And yep.
I think that had a lot to do with our not being in that wave that swept over America at that time. About December of '67, I remember meeting Maharishi in Paris, and of course he taught us how to do transcendental meditation. And so,
okay, this is where it gets weird. Transcendental meditation. They went to Paris to meet this yogi to learn this transcendental yoga. And the transcendental yoga is described as being a simple yoga technique that even if your mind wanders, you're okay. And they don't want you to stress about your mind wandering, but just get your thoughts together and get back into the meditation mode. That's the most I could find about it. I don't know why they needed to go to fucking Paris to learn something that's so goddamn simple, but they did. So it's strange. It's strange. But mind you, they're doing the LSD and all of that right at this time.
How did you get involved in transcendental meditation, Mike?
Oh, well, we were invited to United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, you know, UNICEF, and we were invited to go to Paris in December of '67. And I had heard about TM, Transcendental Meditation, before that, and I'd gone to a lecture, and I was kind of tired, and I kind of dozed throughout. So we went home, and we didn't actually start in L.A. We flew to Paris. We did this UN show, that kind of thing, and just a beautiful show. And we were the only rock group on the show. And it so happened that George and John, you know, I bet you know who I mean. The boys, you know, the Liverpool lads, you know. The lads were there.
Potato, the lads were there.
The boys from Liverpool.
The Liverpool lads. So we add a couple more musicians, right? Paul McCartney and John Lennon. In transcendental meditation and LSD. How does that all mix together?
Nice.
In Paris.
Because they were at that time intrigued by Maharishi's practice of transcendental meditation, and they were learning from him at the time. So we met Maharishi right there in the hall during rehearsals, and it was a kind of a funny story. We'd met him and talked to him. What do you think about astrology? We asked him all kinds of irrelevant questions. He says, oh, astrology's, we recognize that, but that's not what we're teaching. We're teaching this mental technique to give deep relaxation and increase use of your conscious mind and all that.
Okay. What are you thinking? I can't hear you guys. Oh my God.
Sorry, phone was ringing. I didn't want to be loud.
It's okay.
I missed that last bit because I was distracted by the phone. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We'll keep going.
And so it was interesting meeting him, but we were busy and running here and there, and we left after the show. We left and went back from Paris to England. When I say we, my wife and I and one of the fellows that worked for us, a roadie. And the other guys remained in Paris. But I loved England a lot. I really liked England. I've always have. And I preferred the English atmosphere, shall we say, to French, you know. Anyway, we came back and I received a call. No sooner than I got into the hotel, I received a call from Dennis Wilson saying, "Hey, Mike, you got to come back to Paris."
Okay, now this is Mike Love talking at this moment. Mike Love was also a Beach Boy, and he wrote quite a bit of their songs as well. So they were in Paris learning. They were supposed to learn yoga or whatever. Well, he didn't want to stay in Paris for whatever reason, so he went back to England. And then Dennis Wilson calls him from Paris. "You got to come back."
I said, "What for?" "We just were there for a week." He said, "Well, Mara, she's going to teach us to meditate." And I said, "You sure?" He says, "I think so." I said, "Well, before I go flying back across the channel, make sure, you know." So, sure enough, he calls back in about a half an hour and says, "Yep, Margie's going to teach us at 10 o'clock in the morning. Be here." And he says, "But you have to get to sleep early because you're supposed to get a lot of rest, you know. You're supposed to bring a few things." And so we went to bed at 8 o'clock at night and got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, flew back across the channel, landed, got in the cab. The cab driver turns around and says, "You ever been to Paris before?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "When?" "Yesterday." Look at us crazy touristas, you know. So...
Crazy touristas. He is stoned.
He's so stoned.
It's funny.
It was real fun. We went to the hotel, and Marcia gave us this, what is equivalent to an introductory lecture. And then in the afternoon, we came back, and he gave us another little talk. And then he taught us the technique of transcendental meditation. It was the most relaxed I've ever been in my life. You know, it was very relaxed. And it was very simple to do. And I just remember thinking very clearly that this thing is so simple that if everybody could do it, because it is so simple, everybody could do it. And if everybody did it, it would be just a totally different world, just based on the relaxation alone. Forget the mental development. Just if everybody were more relaxed, it would be a totally different situation in the world. So from the very first time I meditated, I was very intrigued about TM, and just a couple months later, I found myself in India.
Okay, so he found himself in India. He was so intrigued by this yoga.
Why India?
I think that's where it originates from.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
20,000 students and play for a low ticket price and just kind of bring that awareness to them of what TM was really about. So from that point of view, I was disappointed that it was Miss Hanson.
Okay, so what they wanted to do was to show all the young people this transcendental yoga. And that was what they were going to do with this show. It was a very low ticket, so they'd get the kids that can't really afford concerts and stuff, and they would get them there because this yogi wanted all these people to do this transcendental yoga. So they actually got together with this yogi, and they were going to promote it to young teens, really, basically. But he was disappointed because the whole thing didn't work. So,
and I think that he was getting much heavier into a drug situation, which Dennis started to become concerned about and very frightened. And the use, I think, of hard drugs. It was no longer just marijuana. I think Charlie at the time was literally taking tremendous amounts of acid. And
so now he's on to Charlie and Dennis.
Dennis was getting concerned and wouldn't tolerate it and asked Charlie to leave. And I know it was a very difficult time for Dennis because he was literally afraid of Charlie. I mean, what took place there for 5 or 6 months must have been a nightmare to Dennis as he saw the personality of Charlie evolve. And he wasn't really that benevolent sort of a guy that he wanted everyone to think that he was. And I think what frightened Dennis more than anything else is just thinking about the fact that Dennis was sleeping under the same roof with him, could have just axed him up one night. Dennis literally said that. He was shuddered when he thought of what could have happened to him after the whole Manson incident.
That song, Never Learned Not to Love, is, as I said before, credited to Dennis Wilson. But once, when he was asked if it were true that Charles Manson actually wrote the lyrics, he said that it was, and that he paid Manson a considerable amount of money for them. As Dennis has the same facility as elder brother Brian for putting people on, it's difficult to know where the truth lies, and nowadays Dennis, perhaps not unnaturally, declines to talk about the whole Manson affair. What is certain is that Manson himself did record many of his own songs.
As a matter of fact, we recorded close to 100 hours of Charlie Manson's music up at the studio, Brian's studio. And I know that when that whole thing took place, we took the tape and put it in the vault. And, you know, no one realized the extent of what had taken place. And, you know, I had called up Time Life magazines in New York, and I thought that maybe some sort of a deal could be made with the tapes, you know, as a study on this guy's personality.
Do you hear this?
A study on his personality.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. They had all these tapes of Manson's music that he wrote. He wrote every song, over 100 hours, and they put it in a vault. And after the murders, he contacted Time Life and said, hey, do you guys want these tapes? And he's like, study his personality. Now listen, this is so weird.
I mean, not, you know, just to make money and release an album and have it on the charts. I mean, about really a medical type situation, because his music was, his lyrics were so twisted and jaded.
In March 19...
He was listening to the Beach Boys, and we used that story in an ad. It was sort of silly, but people were afraid to say they were into the Beach Boys. I think 2020 and Sunflower had been real disasters sales-wise, although Sunflower is one of the finest recordings I've ever heard by anybody. Okay, so we got rid of the white suits, and we started addressing ourselves to the real problem in the media, started doing concerts unlike those which the Beach Boys had done in the past. We had an offer to play at the Big Sur Folk Festival in Monterey with Joan Baez and some other people. Anyway, part of the agreement was that they would do it. They did so without Brian, but nevertheless the group was extremely successful, and it was just what we really needed to get things rolling. They had not done festivals before. I'm not sure why, though. Some people in the group seemed really apprehensive about them, but I remember we changed the order of the songs in the performance round drastically, dropped some numbers entirely, threw in some album cuts, which they hadn't done on stage much, and I thought it was a great show. I remember it very well now. It was an outdoor show.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys.
I can't.
That day, Dennis had just picked up the girls hitching at the side of the road. And that following evening, he headed to the Brother Records recording studio to lay down cuts for their upcoming album, Friends. Contrary to the title, Dennis and Brian's erratic behavior provoked much tension between the fellow band members, Carl Wilson, Mike Love, Alan Jardine, and Bruce Johnson, who were considered too straight-edged and uncool compared to the two eccentric brothers. While Brian was once the creative force behind the Beach Boys, his leading role as producer and arranger fell short after his exhaustive efforts on masterwork albums had failed. Fans expecting sounds of summer, songs of surfing, idealistic young love, and cars got something different. And that was Brian's delicate soul bared within groundbreaking pop compositions. The alleged pop genius was also notoriously known for his excessive drug binges, often indulging in grass, coke, and LSD on a daily basis. As for Dennis, nobody in the band took him seriously. His brothers thumbed him away from the studio, often asserting that crazy Dennis doesn't belong here. Though in retrospect, the band was in great need of a new direction, They could no longer depend on an emotionally unstable Brian who would lock himself up in his room for days and eventually years.
I stayed in my room for about 3.5 years. I was taking some drugs, and I experimented myself right out of action. That was really what life was all about for me, staying in bed. I mean, I was hiding away from everything and anything, and it was just one big hideaway.
We were supposed to headline the Monterey Pop Festival, but at the last minute, Brian backed out. Monterey was a turning point in rock and roll. Overnight, the whole scene changed, and we felt as if we'd been passed by.
After the recording session, Dennis returned home at 3 a.m. And to his surprise, he found that the house was well lit inside, seemingly full of activity. Suddenly the back door flings open, and this strange little man steps out.
These two girls, they went back to Charlie and told him, we've met somebody that could be an incredible entree for you into the music business. Then they brought Charlie and a bunch of the other girls back to Dennis's house.
Dennis walks in. Manson had moved his family in. They were smoking marijuana, eating cookies, and Dennis thought it was kind of a fun situation. They lived with Dennis for several months.
He was rebounding from his divorce with Carol and coming home to a house full of semi-naked or naked women, being the enjoyer of sex that he was. That was the catalyst that Manson used.
All right. Now, Potato, you and I talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
About how Manson used those girls and like pretty much pimped them to these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And Dennis took full advantage of that as well.
Yeah. I mean, but then I was listening to the whole story on their show over there in England.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how after the show there would always be girls that were waiting in the cars or the bus or whatever they were leaving the show. So is it really that much different than the groupies that they used to kind of corral in? I'm sure that their managers or whomever, were like, okay, you guys can come, picked for them. And I was just kind of disgusted when I heard that story too. I was like, ugh, just picturing them with groupies even, just the whole thing. It's just gross.
And that kind of thing still happens now. So it's just the way that it was.
Right. I mean, groupies are groupies. But, I mean, why do we look at this as being any different than, I mean, I'm sure Charlie didn't, hold them down.
Mm-mm. It was the lifestyle as well. That kind of thing was just happening all the time.
Yeah, he gave them to other men as well. We saw that at the ranch.
Yeah, he'd take the prettiest ones and he would use them.
Yep.
Hey, baby D. All right. Are you guys finding this interesting? Did you know any of this stuff?
No.
I was floored. I was floored. Yeah.
I knew of the connection, but not this deep.
Yeah, I was surprised. So they say that prosecutor said that Manson lived there a few months. You heard Carl Wilson say it was 5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Everybody come up here. Are you ready?
That's Dennis.
I dedicate, am I yelling? I dedicate this song to the girls here tonight.
He had the Manson girls there that night. And that was, yes, that was for them.
Wow.
And all the girls in the auditorium are like, yay, it's me. And nope, it was the Manson chicks.
Or is it groupies?
Yikes. Creepy.
All right. Do you mess around?
Upon introduction, Charlie immediately lured Wilson with his band of young girls and intoxicating charisma. clothes, cars, money, food, gold records, everything.
Okay, do you hear this?
Yes.
They didn't. I have read everything I have read has made this Dennis seem like a freaking victim.
Mm-hmm.
That he came home and he just gave these girls, let these two girls come up, and that they just corralled all these guys, like brought this weird guy and all these other girls, and he came home shocked.
Yeah,
That's what I thought last night.
Yep.
Remember, I was like, I'm not going to let people in my house like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were saying like, no wonder he was pissed or whatever, but like, no, it was a deal. You let me have sex with these girls and you can stay here and you can use everything. His Ferraris. Nuts.
Yikes.
He was paying them. Oh, yeah, it's coming out. All right, here we go. Let's keep playing.
He had a very cunning way of singing, smiling, the way that just attracted you and made you want more of what he had.
And Charlie seemed quite magical. Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys, for example, became charmed by Charlie and gave him money. There were ladies in Malibu gave him money.
Have a big laugh.
A lot of guys like to hang around me because I'm underground. I'm what you call cool.
He says, a lot of guys like to hang around me because I'm underground. I'm what you call cool. But it goes back to what they were saying earlier, that surfer, good looking blonde look was not what people were looking for anymore.
No.
So he's still, and look how old he is here, and he's still on that. It's so weird. Wait, what did he say again? Hold on, I gotta play that part again. It cracks me up. So I'm underground. I'm cool. He really was ahead of his time. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Charlie seemed quite magical. Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys, for example, became charmed by Charlie and gave him money. There were ladies in Malibu gave him money.
Have a big laugh.
A lot of guys like to hang around me because I'm underground. I'm what you call cool. I'm what everybody tries to be. When I'm down on the street, I ride a motorcycle. I got a lot of girls. I sing a lot of music. I play. I'm him. That's my road.
Hello. I am a mechanical man. A mechanical man, and I do the best I can because I have my family.
Wilson's home literally turned into Spahn Ranch, an old Western movie set Charlie and the family lived at while they bounced to and from 14400 Sunset Boulevard.
I didn't like that place. That was creepy. That was drugs. That was all the drugs and crap and people coming in and out with all their crap. And it was just like a drug den.
During the day, Dennis and Charlie lounged by the pool smoking pot, rapping to one another about religion, politics, and philosophy for hours on end. So as the boy...
What? He has a secret. This is just, it's weird. And it's easy to pass it off as just, it's just the LSD. I don't look at it that way anymore.
No, it's their lifestyle. It's how they think. It's how they live.
It was an entire mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, it just blows my mind that you have someone who, the Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson went through so much fame and fortune in the early 60s. And then he was mesmerized by Charles Manson. It's just kind of mind-blowing.
And it just shows how we can pull people in if we can get someone like that.
Right. I mean, the thing that gets me is like, okay, fine. Like Dennis wanted the girls there and he was like, yeah, whatever, use my stuff. That Dennis could have gotten girls anywhere. I mean, we talk like he was some victim who was like hard up. No, he was a star.
Yeah, but those women were in his house every day, just there. Like he'd come home and they'd be naked and stuff. Like they were on tap all the time. He didn't have to go out to get any women.
Oh my God. And he didn't have to do anything extra. They just used the shit he already had.
Yeah.
So it just fit. Ew. I guess that is the true meaning of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
I know, Cheryl T. I love it. I love reading your comments because I know that was your time. You know, she was a teenager through that time. She said, "Y'all are so funny. You can't even imagine the times back then. It wasn't unusual." And we're like, "Oh my God." It's funny. We kind of went from straight lace to, you know, that, and then back to, oh, that's a little offensive. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Hoochie coo, yeah. Rick Derringer, dippity doo.
I didn't like that place. That was creepy. That was drugs. That was all the drugs and crap, and people coming in and out with all their crap. And it was just like a drug den.
During the day, Dennis and Charlie lounged by the pool, smoking pot, rapping to one another about religion, politics, and philosophy for hours on end, along with invading Dennis's wardrobe by cutting up all his clothes and restitching them back together. Dennis even went on the notoriously known garbage runs with the girls, where they'd drive behind local supermarkets in his Rolls Royce and dumpster dive for salvageable food items.
So Dennis went...
Pulls up in his Rolls Royce.
Dude, they were so fucked up out of their minds. He drove them around in his Rolls, and they look at them getting food out of there.
Oh, man.
That you got to be messed up, right?
Items to bring back home.
They were having orgies all the time, but what was happening? What was happening during these orgies? Well, Manson was the maestro, conducting what everyone else did. No one else touched anyone else or kissed anyone else or made love to anyone else unless Manson told them to do so.
Dennis loved Charlie. I don't think his brothers cared too much for us. Their wives were kind of threatened by us, by our overall, I guess, lifestyle.
Yeah, he messed around on his wife quite a bit.
Everybody wanted to have Charlie in their party, in their house. Dennis wanted to live with us. He was going to just drop everything, the recording company and everything, and come and be with us, whether it was living in a tent or whatever.
This is nuts.
That's insane.
He was going to drop his whole recording company because he started his own recording company called Brothers Records because they wanted to get away from the big record company, you know, limiting them. So he was like one of the first ones to kind of break away from the big recording companies and start their own. So, I mean, that's a big deal for him to say that he would let that go because that was something that had really never had been done before. So it was a really big deal that they branched off.
Mm-hmm.
So it just shows the level of manipulation and drugs.
Yeah. It's like with the others as well. All the ones that joined, they all said that they would do anything for Charlie. Like,
Yeah,
how did we get people to drop everything?
It wasn't just the women, too. It wasn't like sex appeal or anything like
Yeah,
that. It
these-
was the men, too.
Yeah.
Right. That was so weird, you know, and a man like this, I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm the devil, you dirty dog. And I tricked you once again. I went down on the hate and I seen all these young kids.
As soon as Charlie demonstrated his singing and songwriting skills, the surfer boy was immediately intrigued and promised to record a demo for him and release his music on the Beach Boy record label, Brother Records.
And I went over and Ray Lee told me, he says, man, you can't do anything with that. He said, they're out there playing rock and roll. If I can make myself nervous, I should be able to make myself.
Hi, Charlie, baby.
Okay.
Dennis brought Charlie and some of the girls to Brian's house to record a demo, and sitting behind the control booth was Terry Melcher, son of Doris Day and successful record producer of such artists as The Byrds and Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Let's see.
Do whatever you feel like, man.
Yeah.
Just groove, you know. Tell us when you're going to start and we'll turn the machine on.
Okay. Well, I woke up this morning and grabbed my shoes. Way I run to get the news. I looked in the paper, first thing I saw, my baby bent down to see the law she done.
I like his music. I'm not going to lie.
I was just rocking out to that.
I know, he's good.
He kind of reminds me of like an early George Thorogood.
Yeah. He does a lot of the just the strumming with different chords.
Yeah.
And that's all he does. Like, he doesn't really play the guitar. He more strums just different chords. But I think that was like a popular thing back then too. But he's good. His lyrics, I don't know, man. I think Dennis really liked his music. I mean, they seem to be taking him very seriously in the studio in the footage that they're showing.
Yeah.
A guy called Steve Desper. He engineered some of the sessions at Brian's house. And he said the big problem with Manson was that there was simply no way that Manson would let himself be produced.
Yeah, I mean, don't rush.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to sing in the microphones. I don't feel nothing for these microphones. Giant phallic symbol pointing at you. All my latent tendencies are just...
Forget we're even here, man. What are you nervous about?
He was so nervous with the microphone, but I thought this was absolutely interesting that Terry Melcher's like, dude, calm down. Like, I mean, this was not a joke to him. They weren't just appeasing Charlie.
No. And he sounded vulnerable then as well with his little giggling and stuff.
Yeah, he was real like a little boy.
Yeah, it's like a switch in the power between those two.
All of a sudden, he felt vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Just blow your soul,
Hey,
man.
well, look here, let me explain something to you. I just have to groove on it for a while, get used to it, man,
You're into something good.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in the eyes of a dream.
I mean, Charlie could sit down with the guitar and just ad lib. I mean, it's almost now you could equate it with rap, but then I mean he could just make up a song just plunking out a couple of chords.
He was able to organize his thoughts to a point where they were hypnotic, but yet entertaining, meaningful, and spiritual too.
Well, Dennis and he got along okay, but when it got to a creative thing, if Dennis was producing and Charlie was the artist, then any suggestions that Dennis had to make should have been at least considered by Charles in those roles. But Charlie was not going to be produced. He wasn't. He had no idea of what recording sessions were about, how to make records, how to deal with people that way. He took it all very personally, and he was not a professional artist.
What also troubled the studio engineer was how Manson's true personality would surface, as he once recalled Charlie waving around a buck knife in a stoned frenzy.
That doesn't even look like him, does
nobody
That was weird. That doesn't even look like him.
knew anything about Charles Manson at that time, except that he was more or less a street musician, and there certainly were a lot of those.
Over time, Charlie got the idea that Melcher was to produce his songs. But more importantly, spread his wise words to the masses.
Terry Melcher came to me. I didn't come to Terry Melcher. He come to me with money in his hand. He offered me. I didn't ask him. I wasn't knocking someone's door down. I was running from that. When I got out, I was in that. I was already through that. I had that. I had the studio. I went to the studio. Went to Vox Studios. I had it all. And I looked at it and I said, this is a bigger jail than I just got out of.
What is he talking about? He went to Fox Studios.
I don't know.
I mean, I know we all used to be like, he's full of shit, but he probably did.
Yeah, that's strange.
I'll have to look that one up.
My brother Dennis was in pretty bad shape. He had a problem with drugs and alcohol, and it wouldn't go away.
Wilson, recently divorced from his first wife, Carol Friedman, with whom he had a daughter with, Jennifer, and whose son, Scott, he had adopted.
Bye, Jennifer.
Dennis did have joint custody over the children, but was often away touring with the band or caught up in some sort of drug binge.
I mean, Dennis Wilson and Keith Moon were like, you know, what rock and roll legendary crap is all about.
He was a rebel. He rebelled against play the drums.
And his brothers basically said, you know, you're bound by contract, and if you renege, we're going to have you committed. You know, we're going to get psychiatric testimony that you've flipped your lid, and so you're a slave to this contract. However many years he was bound.
Scary.
Had he been able to maintain his personal equilibrium, I think he would have been a major recording star in his own right.
Dennis, enamored with Charlie, bragged about his friendship in an issue of the English rock magazine, Rave. "Fear is nothing but awareness," spoke Dennis, mimicking Manson's guru-driven mumbo-jumbo. "Sometimes the wizard frightens me. Charlie Manson, who says he is God and the devil. He sings, plays, and writes poetry."
Hey, thanks. The boys and I'd like to thank you. And matter of fact, we're going to join you.
This ending here, this is the end of it. Just kind of breaks down the whole era. It's pretty interesting. And that concludes my presentation on Dennis and Terry Melcher. So we're obviously stopping before the murders occur because we're doing backgrounds on each and every person.
Is that Summer?
She has a lot.
No,
to say.
it's actually Bella. I don't know. It's storming, so I don't know what's going on. It's like pouring down rain right now. But I think this leads us into who's next? Potato.
So next is Charles Tex Watson.
Yes.
The Tex. All right, I'm going to put some pictures up while you talk.
Yeah, he's
Well,
so
I don't like Tex, but
I don't like him, but it's interesting because he's like the main person in the whole entire thing. He's responsible for pretty much everything that happened. So Tex was born in December 1945 in Farmersville, Texas. He grew up in a small town of Copeville, which had a population of like 150, so it was really small, with his two siblings. And his parents owned a gas station and a grocery store, and his cousin was a local sheriff. He did well at school and was an honor roll student. He was editor of his high school's newspaper. An accomplished athlete playing football, baseball, and track. And he was part of the Future Farmers of America program, attended church, and became a youth group leader. In 1964, he moved to Denton, Texas to attend North Texas State University and joined a fraternity. There he started drinking and taking drugs, but it was nothing more than marijuana. In his freshman year, he broke into his former high school and stole 4 typewriters as part of his initiation into the fraternity by means of a scavenger hunt. So he was sent out. He was told, you've got to go and try and find 4 typewriters, and he knew exactly where to get them from.
What a random thing to steal.
Yeah, I know, typewriters.
Yeah.
I guess it was a bit of a challenge, but not a challenge for him. Tex told his parents, and together they reported what they'd done. So I think even him doing that was kind of a sign that he was willing to do anything to fit in with a group. In 1967, he got a job as a baggage handler for an airline and saved some money. He used free airline tickets to visit one of his frat brothers in LA, where he got into the psychedelic and music lifestyle. Watson decided to move to LA and lived with his frat brother, David Neal, and took up a job in a wig shop, which is also kind of random.
He kind of looks like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
In that picture, he does.
See, I told you I do that with everybody, Heather.
Oh, yeah, he does.
But doesn't he?
Yep. It's the bowl cut look.
It is. It's the bowl cut, totally.
Oh, and he also enrolled at Cal State College in LA. In 1968, Tex and Neil opened their own wig shop, but it didn't last long. And it was around this time that he picked up Hitchhiker on Sunset Boulevard, and it was Dennis Wilson. And he drove him back to his house. Dennis eventually asked Tex to move in with him, and there Tex frequently began using LSD.
Oh, Tex.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell was Dennis Wilson hitchhiking?
I don't know.
Well, he was fixing to leave everything behind for those chicks, so.
Yeah, strange.
Good night, Snow.
Aw, night, Snow.
Night, Snow.
Dennis Morehouse also lived with Wilson, and he was a Methodist minister who described himself as a pilgrim who goes around turning people into the truth. He was the link between two worlds.
The link between two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
It's that LSD.
Right? I think the LSD was the link between two worlds.
Yeah. He said it was those that were ready to receive the truth would find him. Tex was young and impressionable and was influenced by Morehouse's beliefs, and the desire for material things were costing the world love. He believed that nothing truly belongs to anybody and that they should drop out of society. Which is also kind of like Manson.
Yeah, eerily similar.
Yeah. According to Morehouse, LSD is the catalyst that clears the mind and boils life down to two choices. Choose the lie that everyone is living in this dimension, or choose the truth that elevates you into the next dimension. I guess that's kind of like the what's it called?
Transcendent, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. TM.
That's what they call it, TM.
TM, yeah, we'll go for that one. Tex met Manson at Dennis Wilson's home. Manson and his family have been living there since spring of 1968, when Dennis picked up a couple of Manson girls who were hitchhiking. Hitchhiking again seems to be a common theme.
Cheryl said that everybody did back then. It was no thing. Like, it wasn't scary or anything like that. Like, everybody just hitched a ride.
No. It soon became scary after Manson. And then Tex eventually joined the Manson family, and there's a video for that one.
Oh, he actually there was like a joining?
Yeah, well, it's not in the video, but he just talks about what happened.
Okay, let me play the video. Is this the pardoned one?
It's number 1.
On meeting Manson?
Let me have a look. Manson family murderer Charles Tex Watson interview 1992.
Okay, that's what I got. All right. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. See, now she wants out of the room. I can't win with these dogs. Yeah, I have to put it in Chrome for you guys to be able to hear it. Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
I think in some of his photos, he's a cross between like Ashton Kutcher and Tom Cruise. See, I'm doing it now, Jay.
Studio.
Oh, wait. Where is it? Okay.
Seeing.
Okay, let me start it over. You guys can hear it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis Wilson hitchhiking and took Dennis home in Pacific Palisades in California here, and went in and met Charles Manson.
So Charles was at his house.
Exactly, and we began smoking hashish together, and he had a very cunning way of singing, smiling, the way that just attracted you and made you want more of what he had.
Which was nothing.
Which was nothing, exactly. And of course, we kept following him and thinking that he was the answer.
The price that he would have to pay for Charles Manson's love and affection was more than any man should have to pay.
This new kind of love that I found, I became willing to do anything for it, including lay down my own life, including take the lives of other people.
Now there came a time when you were around a fire and he literally took a knife and stuck it into your rib cage. And he said, "Tex, will you die for me?" Were you ready to?
I think I was ready to.
If he'd have pushed it right in.
Exactly. I had reached a completely hopeless
Now you had called
condition.
your mother, or she had called you, and
You
over
can
the
stop it
telephone
there.
conversation.
Yeah, so he was willing to do literally anything.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Afraid to die. Yeah. So in December 1968, Tex left the Manson family and Dennis Wilson and moved in with his then girlfriend, Rosina Kroner, also known as Luella, who was a drug dealer. But he later returned to the Manson family on Spawn Ranch. While living at the ranch, Tex allegedly robbed drug dealer Joel Rostow, who was the boyfriend of Charlene McCaffrey, who was Jay Sebring's receptionist, which is kind of a possible link for why they targeted the Tate home when they did. Kind of a weird link between them. Tex kicked off trouble for Manson family when he came up with a money-making scheme and ripped off Bernard Crowe, aka Lotsa Popper, for $2.5K, which is the next person that I'm going to go into. Lotsa Popper Bernard Crowe was born 1946 and died in 1992. He was a marijuana dealer in LA who became involved with the Manson family through Tex's drug deal robbery. The family needed money, and Tex would do anything the family needed. On July 1st, 1969, Tex hatched a plan to purchase a large amount of marijuana to distribute and profit from, but he needed money first to borrow it. So he reached out to his girlfriend Luella for help. The deal was for 25 kilos of marijuana for $2.5K. Tex would allow Luella to keep 3 kilos for herself if she came up with the money for the initial purchase and help him distribute the rest. Luella didn't have the money, but she knew someone who would, and would likely want the rest of the marijuana and had the money, and that was Lotsa Popper. Luella was unaware that Tex had no intention of following through with the deal and planned on stealing the cash. Tex said in an interview, "I called Luella on July 1st and said the family had $100 and wanted to buy a kilo of grass. But our mafia vending machine connection would only sell 25 kilos at a throw for a cool $2.5K. She called back and told she knew somebody who was interested in buying the extra kilos, and she needed to make some money out of it herself. Luella introduced Tex to Lotsa Popper, who took one look at him and decided that he would drive the two to where they needed to go for the transaction, and said he would keep Luella in his Cadillac with 2 bodyguards as collateral until Tex returned with the marijuana. At the location, Tex received the $2.5K and left to meet the dealer, but he never returned. So he basically just ditched his girlfriend and left with the money. Tex said, "It didn't matter to me what they did to Luella as long as I got the money for Charlie. They gave me the cash and I went straight into the front of the apartment and straight out the back and went back to the ranch." By the time Tex got back to the ranch, Lotsa Papa was already calling asking for Charles. Manson was put on the phone and told Lotsa Papa he had no idea where Tex was and that he had left the ranch weeks ago. Lotsa Papa didn't believe him and told Manson that if he didn't get his money back, he would not only kill Luella, but he would also go to the ranch, burn it down, and kill everyone that was there. Manson, not wanting trouble, agreed to meet Lotsa Papa to sort it out. And then that's video 2, where he's talking about what happened.
I finally got the picture of, I love it when you call me Lotsa Papa up on the screen.
I think that all the time.
I know. Every time you say it, I'm like, I love it when you call me Big Papa.
Yeah. I try and stop myself from saying Big Papa.
I can't help it. Am I in Lotsa Papa's videos now, or am I still in...
No, they're still in the channel one. They're just listed 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, see, that's where I messed up. I was,
Yeah, go back to the channel one.
Is it the Black Panther one, or no?
Episode 1. Or no.
There's one with Charles Manson on Papa, and then there's just one of him by himself.
It's Manson. Charles Manson on Bernard Crowe.
Got it. This is Michael's Back Porch channel. I wonder what that is. Is that like a whatchamacallit, like a ministry, or? Because it kind of looks like it.
I don't know.
Like a prison ministry. They did videos or something. All right, hold on. Let me add the video. There we go. All right, and this is, I love it when you call me Lotsa Papa.
We have fires and we play music. And we make big circles like you do with the Stones. We make big circles and we sing. Ah! And we put our souls in each other. You dig? In other words, and we have sex.
You dig?
We fuck each other. You know, and we suck each other.
Far
do
out.
All the things that you guys are not allowed to do in your culture. But in the culture I live in, we throw all that out the window, and that's what I guess you'd call Satan. You know, I wouldn't call it Satan. I just call it...
It's from 7 minutes, 18 seconds.
But, that was what
I'm sorry. Did I not look? I was reading Cheryl's comments.
Cheryl, you're distracting her.
You know I'd sit here and watch the whole thing, though.
Yeah, you would.
All right, here we go.
Mama's boy. The prostitute took his money. He said, can I live with you? I said, can you live with me? He said, yeah. I said, well, let me have that pickup truck. So he gave me an old pickup truck from Texas, you dig? So I got this old pickup truck, and I'm letting him stay around the ranch. He's hanging around the ranch. A lot of guys like to hang around me because I'm underground. I'm what you call cool. I'm what everybody tries to be. When I'm down on the street, I ride a motorcycle. I got a lot of girls.
Potato, you got the same clip I did.
I know. I know, both of them.
That is so weird. I'm officially creeped out right now.
This happens all the time.
It does. That's so weird. Of all the clips.
Dude.
It was the same with the other one with Tex.
It is Creep Town, dude. Oh my gosh.
I play. I'm him. You know, that's my road. You know, for a while until they grab me up and put me back in the cage again. But anyway, he said this woman took my money, and he sees women lighting my cigarettes, and he's saying, "Yes, ma'am, I open the door for you." In other words, he's a matriarch. I'm a patriarch. He sees the way I'm doing it. He wants to do what I'm doing, so he said he's going to go get his money back. So he went to go get his money back. He went and he burnt the broad for $5,000. When he beat her for $5,000, some black guy called me and said, "I'm Gangster Dan over here, man. You cook my money." I said, "Look, Gangster man, all you white brothers are together. I'm coming up there. I'm gonna burn everybody up and take that ranch." I said, "No, you're not around me. You're not. You talk that shit to them little girls. When you come to me, boy, you're gonna have to, because like I'll take your hat home to you. You dig?" So we go through some changes, and I told Tex, go down there and face that man. Don't drag your shit to my door, man. He said, I can't, he'll kill me. I said, well, if you're crazy, or if you're scared, run home to mother, you dig? So he couldn't do it. So I had to go down there, and I ended up shooting the guy. And I had to go through some other changes with some other people and cutting some other people up.
Bernard Crowe.
Yeah, that's the world I live in. I ride in a motorcycle group that's a bunch of crazy people. We're fighting and cutting each other all the time. That's no big thing, you know. I'm going to jiggle and get up on that line and push that broom and get on down. I didn't see anything, you know. In other words, I'm not going to get involved. I went actually for myself, but it was for Tex too, because Tex ain't got to have no woman, you dig? This black guy keeps taking his woman away from him. So I had to go get his woman back for him, you dig? Because he won't accept that he's his own woman, you dig? We're all the Queen of England. If we're the King of France, I mean, whatever that means, you know. We play music.
Wow. Okay, so let's walk through this with Manson and big and lots of pop-up.
Yeah. So Tex was too scared to go back and deal with the mess that he'd made. So he went to Manson and said, like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. Like, I can't go sort the money stuff out. So Manson had to go down there and do it for him. And he did actually go and intend to kill him, but actually didn't.
And he didn't even know who Lots of Papa was.
And Lots of Papa didn't have any involvement with Manson at all. It was only through Tex. Yeah. And they had no issues either. Like, all the way up until that one day, July 1st, the Manson family hadn't had any problems other than
with anybody
with Dennis, but they hadn't had any like crime or anything happening like that until Tex decided to try and rob this drug dealer and took off with the money like he didn't care. Like, Manson said that Tex was saying he wanted him to go and like get his girlfriend back, but Tex wasn't even bothered about his girlfriend. He left her there knowing that, you know, she could get harmed, and he didn't care.
So he kind of used him as a scapegoat.
Yeah. Left his girlfriend there and then got Manson to go and deal with it.
So Charlie went down there because this guy was threatening to come to the ranch and all this. So he was like, probably F this. He's not coming up here. I'll go handle it. So then what happened? Or are we not there yet? Am I getting ahead?
Oh, no, we're there.
Okay.
So
I'm intrigued.
So after talking to Tex and stuff and hearing that, you know, his girlfriend was at risk and everything, Manson did actually go and intended to kill Lots of Papa, and he shot him in the stomach. And he did think that he had killed him, especially when he heard the next day that the body of a Black Panther member had been found and he was killed in a shooting. So Manson became paranoid that the Black Panthers were going to be after him. But Lots of Papa was never a Black Panther, and unknown to Manson, he'd actually survived.
Oh, really? So he didn't kill him?
No, he was seriously injured. Like, he had to have surgery and stuff. And the bullet was actually lodged next to his spine. And they couldn't remove it because it was too dangerous to. But they said it could also cause problems later on. Like, it could move, or it could cause blood poisoning and things like that from the lead from the bullet.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's another video. So that's video 3.
Yeah, I was just getting that ready.
It's Lots of Papa talking about what happened.
See, I guess when I heard that he was attacked by Charlie, I didn't realize he survived.
Neither did Manson.
Surprise. So 58 seconds in. Okay, let me see here. Oh, she wants us to skip this dude's creepy intro, probably. Okay, here we go. Here's Bernard Crowe, a.k.a. I love it when you call me Lots of Papa. He was the first Papa.
Told that Charlie Manson shot you. Is that true?
Could be.
Well, let's not kid each other around now. It's either true or it isn't true. Did he shoot you? And if so, when and where?
Yes, he shot me, yes.
Well, when did this take place?
August the 1st, 1969, on Franklin Boulevard, next to the Magic Castle apartments.
In an apartment house?
Yes, an apartment.
Were Well, now, why?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of me.
Well, is there some reason why you'd rather not answer that?
Answer that question.
Well, let me ask it this way. Was it a personal dispute of some kind, or what?
Yes, sort of. Yeah. It's a personal dispute.
Well, was anyone else involved?
Yes.
Well, who was that?
Charlie Watson.
You mean Tex Watson?
Yes, Tex Watson.
Well, were you having a dispute with Tex and Charlie interfered, or how did it happen? I don't mean to push you on this, but since you have admitted that he shot you, I'd like to know why. Well, you were having a disagreement with Tex or with Charlie, and out of this grew the shooting. Or awareness is through fear?
Yeah, one or the other. Fear through awareness, or awareness through fear, something to that effect.
Now, Charlie Manson said that?
Yes, he said that, and he walked out.
And he walked out without his shirt?
Yeah, he walked out, and he took the shirt of my friends.
I see.
With them.
What kind of a gun did he shoot you with?
From looking at it, it was just... just a revolver.
A revolver?
Yes.
Well, without going into any further detail except for caliber, what caliber was it?
Wait a minute, what the hell's going on here?
Why did they have to remind him?
It was killing me. I wanted to pause, and I stopped. I held back. What is going on? Okay, first of all, does he not want to admit that he was selling drugs?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was a criminal, so he probably didn't want to talk.
But had he already been busted for it, or no?
I don't know. But he just seemed like
he's so evasive.
He really creeped out, like he was scared to say anything. Like,
he's scared to talk about it. What the heck?
Like his first question, he didn't want to answer whether he'd been shot or not. Like why? And then he decided that he was going to say.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know if you've been shot?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's very
okay,
strange.
now he's got two people in his ear. Lawyers, probably.
Yeah, so the gun that was used to shoot him was also used in the other murders. And so they probably don't want to give away that detail. I don't know, legal stuff, I guess.
Oh, no one knew at this point?
I don't think so.
Was he there to was he testifying? What was the setting here?
I don't know. I think he was just being interviewed. I don't really know why.
Oh, okay. Let me see if there's a description, because I thought maybe it was like, I was wondering what year it was. Oh, this guy actually did the interviews. He says, this is the Black Panther, and he puts that in quotes. Charles Manson thought he shot Bernard Crowe interview. Lots of Papa talks to reporters about Charles Manson. The beginning conversation is Charles Manson telling me about Bernard Crowe. Interesting. All right, let's keep going. He's very unsure of himself, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I will not comment on that.
Oh, all right. Now, how seriously were you shot?
Pretty seriously, critical. My heart had stopped twice on the operating table, and I had sent telegrams to my family telling them that they don't think I would make it.
Oh my God.
In fact, I still have the bullet in my back.
You still have the bullet in your back?
Yes. It said it's in a muscle and it formed a scab over it. And they didn't want to take it out. I believe it was kind of close to my spine, the reason why they didn't want to take it out. And also, I'd like to have that bullet removed from my back.
You would like to have it removed? Why would you like it removed at this point?
Well, actually, to be bodily harm, as medical terms, I've been advised that it could
cause some future problems?
Yes, in the future.
Why was that even a question?
It wasn't from the liver.
Yeah,
At the segments of time, I've been informed by medical.
This is a very strange interview.
It is.
It is.
Oh, you have a bullet lodged in your back right next to your spine. Why would you want to have that removed?
Yeah, just leave it there.
Yeah, you don't want to go through life with it right there?
Leave it. It's a souvenir. I like it.
It's lodged in a muscle. It's good. It's a memory of Charlie. Mm-mm. He probably wants it out because it's a chip. Kidding.
If you had this bullet removed, would you turn it over to the police authorities to compare the weapon that Charlie Manson has been accused of using?
I will not comment at this time.
He's like, say no comment.
Can you tell me how long you knew Manson and Tex Watson?
No comment.
Okay, now without perhaps...
Does that guy right there look like that Roman Polanski or no? I'm saying or no a lot tonight.
Or no?
He looks familiar, and I don't know if it's just the sideburns. He has a familiar look.
Jay, everybody looks familiar to you.
Yeah.
I know. It's such a problem. It's always been like that for me. I think people are like derivatives of other people.
Everybody has a doppelganger, apparently.
I know, because I look at features so closely. I think that's why. And now, like with HD and everything's so clear, like 4K, 5K, it's like they're right in front of you. So it's almost like they look like AIs now on TV because they're so real looking.
Yeah.
Trips me out, man. Just give me a TV with knobs and antennas and some foil on top. I'm fine.
Jay wants the knobs.
Dude, I'm serious.
Give me the knobs.
I'm serious. I want a TV that only gets 3 stations. I do. I hate all of this. Even though this technology helps me do what I do, I hate a lot that goes along with it. Because I look at people, I'm like, who is that? He looks familiar.
It's everybody, Jay. Literally everybody with you.
I know. It must be the LSD. All right.
Your mind to a different dimension.
Let's keep going into Bernard Crowe's dimension, shall we? Look at that. I'm telling you, he is looking at someone over to his left. He keeps looking out the corner of his eye. I don't know who's over there, but he keeps looking at that person and he's like, I don't want to answer that.
He looks
nervous. She's shifty, man.
Mm-hmm.
You dig?
So I say that same night I met him. Same night.
Oh, I see.
The very same night.
Now, were you introduced to them by a third party, or?
Yes, I were.
Okay. Now, without going into it, I suppose there was some kind of a business deal going on, and as happens, there are disputes in business and that sort of thing.
I will not comment on this time.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not commenting on my drug deal.
Feeling about Charlie Manson at this time?
Well, my feelings for him is, I believe that I feel that he's I think that
spit it out.
Seriously, dude.
How long did you linger between life and death?
I couldn't actually pinpoint it.
Oh my God! Why
did I attempt to get up?
Did you start a stopwatch?
Who did this camera work?
Who set up this whole damn interview?
Who's interviewing him? I'm dead. Like, what?
And it's weird that he wouldn't even say like what he thought about Charlie.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought he was getting out something he wrote. I thought he was going to read something profound.
Give himself some notes because he can't remember.
Yeah, I thought he had like a speech to Charlie.
And then he was spoken to in his ear and he still couldn't say anything. And he never did.
Weird.
It was like, okay, let's move on.
And then they zoom in on his mouth. Like, okay. Is that going to make him talk more?
Well, and then I had collapses. I cannot really pinpoint. I know I was in the hospital for 18 days, and I say the majority of those was pretty critical. But I just felt it would take as much courage to die than to live.
Now, I know you by the name of Lots of Papa. Where did that name come from? How'd you get a moniker like that?
Look at that smirk.
Now he's lighting up.
Seems that I seem to be a daddy to him, more or less. But I'm always
gonna be the big daddy.
That was great. Advice, I guess, you know. But I don't practice what I preach.
What do you weigh? You look like you weigh about 230, 240. Is that maybe where it came from? You're Lots of Papa.
What?
Why?
Oh my God. Why is he body shaming Lots of Papa?
Come on, leave
That's
Papa
so
alone.
mean. Well, he did downscale it. And big Lots of Papa's like, no, I'm about 290, man. This is so weird. Well, I guess the reporter is probably like, well, he's not going to talk about Charlie. How much you weigh,
Yeah,
Lots Pops?
Let's talk about you.
Yeah, why are you Lots Pops?
It was just that there were friends of mine that named me that, Lots of Papa. Yeah.
Well, I think they'd have to be a friend to get away with it.
Yes. Well, I think that it was said out of divine order. I mean, it's beautiful. I consider it a pet name.
Yeah. Well, now, is there anything that you want to tell me that I haven't thought to ask you about?
I don't believe so.
Well, now, I understand that you do a little writing, and you could, if somebody was interested, collaborate with them on a magazine story, or perhaps a book, or even sort of a technical advisor for movie stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I'm ready for all of that. I am capable of doing acting or whatever. And as far as the story is concerned, I wouldn't mind getting it to any magazine I'd like to have it.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I know I had to drag some of this out of you, and I hope you're not sore at me about it, but that's my business.
Well, I felt those that God plus believe because manifestation is my fault. And whatever happens to me, it was because of me. No one else but me. So you're just doing your job.
Thank you very much.
I can cooperate with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was wild. It's like he got caught in the crossfires.
Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that I could find with him talking in it as well. And there's
That
not a lot
was-
of pictures or anything about him.
That's great, though. That's great footage. I love all this footage we're seeing. So is that the last that we've heard of him, or did he pass?
He died in 1992.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I was just
I don't know
gonna scroll through these. So he wasn't a Black Panther.
Nope. He wasn't. It's only because Manson had heard that a Black Panther had been killed. Like, I guess it was the same time.
Oh, it was like mistaken identity, pretty much.
Yeah. So he heard like the next day that this Black Panther had been shot, and he thought, oh my God, that was me. So then he was paranoid that the Black Panthers were going to be after him. And I think that's where the race war stuff came in as well, because that was a possible motive for what happened. Stuff, but it wasn't, because he wasn't a Black Panther.
Wow. And it's amazing just to see how all these little things changed the course of things,
Yeah.
Heather,
Yes, ma'am.
who do we have next that we're dissecting?
Do you want Crazy Creepy or Bobby?
Oh, those are two loaded questions. I say we do Bobby.
Okay. There isn't a lot on Bobby before he gets to his murder. But He was born November 6th, 1947. And he pretty much grew up in kind of a middle class, working class type of home. When he was 15 years old, they sent him to a boys' home. So he has that in
Has
common.
that in common, yep.
Yep. He mostly was sent there for like running away, doing a little pranks, things like that.
Like stupid stuff.
Yeah, his parents were pretty much fed up with him, and they were like, go over here.
Bye.
Yeah.
And so it begins.
Yeah. So he was born in California, just so we know his geographical region. And when he was released from the boys' home, he moved to Los Angeles. And he joined like a bunch of rock bands. He was in that music scene.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. He liked the counterculture music, kind of like Manson. He didn't want the Beach Boy vibe. He wanted more of the up-and-coming anti-government, anti-war type of vibe.
Yeah, kind of like the rebellious.
Yep. So he found himself while he was out living in Los Angeles. He found himself living with Gary Hinman. And that's why I'm not going to say too much about it, because we're going to get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
He did have a nickname, Cupid.
And why is that?
I don't know. They didn't go into that.
Is it those blue eyes that I have up on the screen?
A bit of a lover boy.
A bit of a lover boy, a little rugged look.
Really? You guys think so?
No.
Not here. He looks like a deranged lunatic in this picture.
He does in all his pictures, I think.
This one, he just looks like a stoned kid.
Yeah, he does.
That one, I think, looks the most innocent out of all his photos. He just looks stoned.
He reminds me of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh my God,
Oh
he
my
does. Oh shit, I'm rubbing off on you. Forget it. Forget it. Here's another one of him.
Ruh-roh Raggy.
I don't have any videos of him beforehand.
Who's got the Scooby snacks? I think Manson has the Scooby snacks.
Mm-hmm.
What'd
He
you
is
say,
still
Heather?
alive. I said I don't have any videos of him.
That's
from
okay.
Before. He is alive still, and still in jail.
He's still alive and in jail?
Ooh.
Wow.
The governor would was going to be pardoned, or not pardoned, paroled, and the governor denied it.
Oh, poor Bobby.
No.
Oh, here he
no.
is. Here he is. Here's his latest mugshot.
Oh, that's him.
Yep.
You know, he's not a bad looking old man.
As an older man, he's not.
I mean, considering he's aged in prison, he kind of looks like Mark Gillespie.
Oh, gosh, I know.
He reminds me.
He kind of reminds me of Mark Gillespie. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but he resembles him. Okay, next subject.
Oh,
right.
he was in movies too.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was in a movie called Lucifer Rising.
Ooh.
That's kind of like I don't know what they call it, underground movie, a Sundance type thing.
Uh-huh. Kind of like an independent film.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
So was he Lucifer?
No. He was
Bobby Beausoleil?
He was Bobby Beausoleil.
He was Bobby Beausoleil with the puffy sleeves.
Oh no, he did the music, excuse me, for that film. For that one. But they used pictures of him.
Who's Barbara? Is this his wife? I have a obit.
I think that's his mummy.
His mummy?
Oh wait.
Dearest.
No, I don't know who she is. Who found an obit?
I don't know. It doesn't say who her kids are. Or wait, here it is down here.
He was never married though.
She is survived by her husband, Robert Beausoleil. Salem. I think this might be a different Robert Beausoleil.
Yeah, he was never married.
God bless you, Barbara. Let's get off there.
Bye, Barbara.
God bless you, Barbara. All right.
Maybe because
Let's put Bobby back on. Is this actually Bobby right here?
Yeah.
He's so clean cut and like he looks like he's walking down the halls of Harvard. I mean, seriously, is this his trial or what? He looks like so different to me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking in that last picture he could be a beetle.
Mm-hmm. That too. Look at how they hand wrote their things for the mugshot. All in cursive. Can you guys see that or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who's Kenneth Anger? Ooh. Rendy Talks Horror says Bobby was heavily involved with Kenneth Anger and had connections to Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey is the founder of Satanism or whatever.
Oh, yikes.
I know. Ew. Okay, so moving on. Where are we at now?
All right. So we have Dennis Rice.
Oh, yes. Creep Town, dude. If I
With
had my
the creep
sound
town.
bites. Yes.
He's like true definition of a creep town dude.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis-
Let me show you guys these photos. Oh, boy.
Dennis Rice did not come around the family until after Manson was imprisoned.
Weirdo.
But wait a minute. I found photos of him with the family.
No way.
Look.
Oh, yeah. He befriended them. He stayed
Look.
around. So he was talking with the men for a while, and then he stayed around with his sons, mind you, his baby kids. He stayed around because he was talking with the men and getting sex and doing all the freaky stuff, doing the drugs. And he was married during all this.
Ew.
But I say that like he was married, but they weren't really together, married. He was born in Phoenix in the 50s, I think it was. I don't have an exact date on him.
Yeah, you're good. His birth date is very unimportant compared to his life.
But he was a problem child from the beginning. He was always causing problems. He was into that whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll type of life. He was into heroin, got addicted to that, moved on to LSD. He started committing burglaries. Just a mess of a man. That's his second wife.
I was going to say, it looks like... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Use your filter, Jane. When I first saw it, I thought, oh my God, Dennis married Miss Doubtfire.
Oh my God, I was thinking Carol Baskin, but okay.
Carol Baskin! Oh God, that's funny. Look at those boys, though. Oh. Now, one of those boys is a preacher himself.
Yep.
I don't know which one in this photo, but yeah.
So do you want me to talk about like
you can
how
talk
he
about
got
whatever.
imprisoned?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Talk about whatever you want.
Okay, so he wasn't involved in any of the murders. He found out about Manson. Oh, don't show that yet.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Reverse. Pretend you didn't see that.
Close your eyes.
God, and he just looks so... God, he just looks so eerily familiar. But he looks like someone from the 1800s. It's Creep Town, dude.
Yeah. He is not familiar.
He looks like the guy that I thought was Charlie's dad, but it was like the uncle or whatever.
Devil guy.
Yeah. Sorry, Heather.
No, it's fine. So he ended up finding some of the girls from the family, and they invited him back to the ranch, and he soon fell in love with Manson's philosophy. Hold on.
He fell in love with Manson's philosophy after the murders.
After the murders.
When Manson wasn't even there.
That is so creepy. But what's going to be even creepier when you find out what he went on to do. Yikes, Ashley.
Yikes. It is yikes.
Mm.
So when he saw the headlines of the Tate murders, he was like, oh man, it's a revolution. They wrote things like pig, rise, helter skelter, death to pigs. And he saw that as kind of like a calling. And he was like, this is something that I really believe in. I want this revolution to solve all these problems that are going on in America right now.
Mm.
He went to the ranch, like I said, integrated with them, brought his sons over there. The women there kind of became mothers to his sons because their mom was drug addicted and was not in the picture. He ended up visiting Manson in prison. And Dennis got this idea, well, we're going to get you out of here. We're going to break you out. And Charles was like, okay, well, you better be ready to take down the whole prison when you do. He broke into I think it was like an outdoorsy store, like an Outfitters.
Mm-hmm.
Him and a bunch of other family members, and they stole 160 weapons.
Wow.
How many?
160.
It's like a whole armory.
Wow. I mean, they burnt down Waco for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was an army surplus store. That's what it was. So the clerk that was actually inside the store hit a silent alarm. So the cops ended up getting sent there. When they loaded everything into the van, the cops were already there, and they were starting to shoot at the van because one of Dennis's counterparts shot first and knocked out the windshield of the cop car. And Dennis was saying that he could hear these bullets whizzing by his ear.
Oh my God.
They were grazing his skull. They were grazing, his chest. They were that close. He said that the van actually looked like Swiss cheese at one point.
Holy cow.
The shoot-off in the chase didn't actually last that long. I'm pretty sure it was about 12 minutes or so. And finally, they arrested everybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
He went to jail. He only was in for a couple months, broke his parole or his probation, was back in, got out, broke it again, back in, and then he found Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Tex. They were right about the same time. He heard Tex, or he saw that Tex had written an article in a prisoner Christian magazine. And so he was like, okay, well, I'm going to read this. And then finally other prisoners started pulling him in and getting him interested in the Christian religion. He was actually baptized while he was in church. In jail. You can show the kid picture now.
Okay, hold on. I was just getting that video ready. Okay. Let's bring in the kid picture. There we go.
This is crazy. So these children were found. Hold on, let me switch from. I'm on.
In a cave. They were in a cave.
They were underneath a coop, a chicken coop type of thing, a chicken shed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 6-foot deep hole where his children lived. And he put them there because he was afraid that there was going to be this big, uprising.
Like Charlie said, the race wars and all that.
So he hid them there.
Those poor little kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how did they get found?
Hold on.
I thought that we watched that together, but maybe I read that. Oh, gosh.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. That came out of nowhere.
someone tipped them off to it. And they ended up searching, like, the desert where they once lived.
Yeah, I want to say I watched something on that, but I can't recall exactly who it was that tipped him off. But I think it was somebody who lived there, or I don't remember. But they visited there, and they were like, what the heck? But yeah, so this guy, all right, go ahead. So what did he end up doing? How did he get out?
Well, he got out and he turned his life around because he found Jesus, and he ended up being a preacher. And he would go around.
Yeah, so he got out of prison after all that shenanigans.
I forgot to mention, he also tried to poison a witness with LSD that was in a hamburger.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Wait,
that.
what?
Yeah.
Say that again? He tried to drug someone?
A witness for Sharon Tate, like for the prosecution. He put LSD in a hamburger and tried to give it to her and poison her.
Oh. Well, I have a little tidbit on him that you didn't bring up, so I didn't know if you were going to bring up. Did you find anything about Focus on the Family?
Oh, yeah.
Because it may not have stuck out to you, and because you're a little bit younger than me, but Focus on the Family was really, it was really popular, like in the late 90s, kind of like the mid to late 90s and into the early 2000s. And the guy that ran it was Dr. James Dobson. And he was, supposed to be this Christian man that gave his perspective on fathers and the family and keeping the family together. At least that was my perception at that time. I've since learned a lot more, obviously, that I didn't know then. But at the time, I thought it was a very stand-up organization, a legitimate organization. I mean, Fox News, and don't laugh at me, you political people in chat. I know Fox News, whatever. I just remember him being like a commentator and stuff. So I really thought that Dr. James Dobson was really legit. And then come to find out, this creep right here became a pastor and was endorsed and backed by Focus on the Family. And I was floored. A man who had his children living in a cave.
Yeah, that's really scary.
Was endorsed by this Christian fundamentalist organization that was mainstream.
Mm-mm.
I don't like that.
Nope.
And I just looked up, and I'm sorry to interject, Heather, but I'm just, while we're talking about at this juncture, I just want to throw this in there. A little history on Dobson, James Dobson, and Focus on the Family. It started in 1977. And James Dobson was the sole leader until 2003. And I thought that was so interesting because that was when I kind of remember it going out of my sites. I don't remember really hearing about it as much. But I was shocked as I read on. Let me go forward a little bit. Okay, so here's a little bit more. In February of 2009, Dobson actually resigned his chairmanship. He left Focus on the Family in 2010, and then he founded Family Talk as a nonprofit organization and launched his own broadcast. But he's no longer affiliated with Focus on the Family. I have no idea why that is, but I'd like to know more. So on June 23rd of 2017, Vice President Mike Pence attended the organization's 40th anniversary celebration. He praised the founder, James Dobson.
Oh.
He stated that President Donald Trump is an ally of the organization. And he added that the Trump administration supports its goals, including the abolition of Planned Parenthood. Pence's attendance at the event, along with Focus on the Family's stances on LGBT rights, were criticized by the Human Rights Campaign. We're getting a little political, but that's what all of this boils down to.
I had
sadly.
no idea he had ties to all that. Like, I knew he was in that organization, but I didn't realize how big the organization was.
So here we go. This is Focus on the Family's stances. And I'm ashamed to ever say that I thought that they were a legitimate organization. This is their stance on marriage and family. They strongly oppose same-sex marriage, civil unions, and domestic partnerships. Focus on the Family's Wait No More ministry works with adoption agencies, church leaders, and ministry partners to recruit families to adopt children from foster care. I don't like that. In Colorado, the number of children waiting for adoption dropped from about 800 to 350 due to Wait No More. Focus on the Family's efforts to encourage adoption among Christian families is part of a larger effort by evangelicals, I can't say that, to live out what they see as the biblical mandate to help children. Okay, I'm going to keep going. You're going to be a little disturbed, but the Option Ultrasound Program. Focus on the Family's Option Ultrasound Program provides grants to crisis pregnancy centers to pay the cost of ultrasound machines or sonography training. Focus on the Family began OUP in 2004 with the goal of convincing women not to have abortions. FOTF officials said that ultrasound services help a woman better understand her pregnancy and the baby's development, creating an important bonding opportunity between mother and unborn child. Study released in February of 2012 shows that ultrasounds do not have a direct impact on abortion decision. 2011, Focus on the Family announced that they would like to talk with pro-choice groups like Planned Parenthood to work towards the shared goal of making abortion less common. Well, that didn't happen, did it?
Nope, but that's a story for another day.
So if you look up to just this Dobson, he spoke at a 2004 rally against gay marriage. This dude in 2004 was speaking at rallies, you guys. And we're afraid of what? I mean, what? Called May Day for Marriage. That was the rally. May Day for Marriage. It was here for the first time that he endorsed a presidential candidate, George W. Bush. Disgusted. I am thoroughly disgusted, man. I'm sick. So here he denounced the Supreme Court rulings in favor of gay rights, and he urged rally participants to get out and vote so that the battle against gay rights could be won in the Senate. This is Dr. James Dobson, Focus on the Family. In an interview with Christianity Today, Dobson explained that he was not in favor of civil unions. He stated that civil unions are just same-sex marriage under a different name. The main priority of the opposing same-sex marriage movement is to define marriage on the federal level as between a man and a woman and combat the passage of civil unions later. Focus on the Family is a member of protectmarriage.com. It's a proposition to restrict marriage to opposite sex couples. I mean, I could go on and on, but I won't. Because in 2008, Dobson's Focus on the Family program was nominated for induction into the National Radio Hall of Fame.
That's insane.
How? Let me give you one more little thing. The Focus on the Family headquarters is a 47-acre, you heard me, 47 acres, located off Interstate 25 in Janice Burns, if you're still here. It's in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it has its own zip code, 80995. The building consists of the administration building, international building, welcome center, and operations, totaling 526,000 square feet. Yeah, so they're worried about Donald Koresh, or not Donald, why did I say Donald? David Koresh in his little commune. We got motherfuckers like this hiding in plain sight. I mean, I'm sickened. And then they welcomed this ex-Manson who stole 160 guns to get Charles Manson out of prison. They welcome him because he found God in prison. What are we believing, guys?
It's sickening.
What are we believing blindly? I'm just like, yuck. And this is just nothing that's, you can easily find it. All you got to do is go to their website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I have no idea who he is or where he came from. I'm just going to listen to him.
Yeah, because he's endorsed by Focus on the Family.
Yeah.
Who I thought was all for the family. I thought they were just about, don't get divorced. Try to keep your marriage together, like fundamental values. Yeah. I had no idea he was against, civil unions and rights of people. Mm. And, people like that are usually the biggest hypocrites. Mm-hmm. They're usually the ones that tell you how bad everybody else is. Things that don't even affect this motherfucker. I guarantee you James Dobson probably never rubbed elbows with a gay person that he knew was gay anyways.
Yep.
Something he knows nothing about. God, that makes me sick. So let's watch this little clip of Mr. Dennis Rice, who was welcomed with open arms by Dr. James Dobson and Focus on the Family. And he went around to prisons and gave pep talks in his Under Armour tops.
To everyone. He traveled all around the world.
And his dentures.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's dead. And you know what? I am not a hateful-hearted person, but I feel better knowing that this guy is not on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he died from liver cancer.
He's another one with cancer?
Wow.
Holy. What are we, like 4 and 9 for cancer? 4 out of the 9?
Maybe more than that.
I don't know. By the time we're through, it might be a really high amount. All right, let's watch Dennis. This is at Calipatria State Prison. Oh, and ladies, control yourselves on the prisoners in the background.
Oh, my God.
Not too many B numbers around anymore. And when I talked to, I did find one in the county jail in Modesto. And I said, how come there's no more B numbers around? He said, the lifestyle kills us all. Oh, yeah.
Did he just say Modesto?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, he needs to stay out of Modesto, all right? Because we no. We can't have Dennis Rice and this shiz in Modesto in the early 2000s. We can't. We cannot. You dig?
I dig.
Okay.
6297. Got involved with a group in Los Angeles. Knows the Manson family. Went to the ranch, took my kids out there. I went from having no wife to having 6 wives. My kids went from having no mom to having 6 moms.
Dude, this guy's a piece of shit. Are you kidding me?
Like they're okay listening to that? Like what?
No. He's telling these prisoners, I went from having my kids went from having 1 mom to 6 moms. Really? Your kids were in a freaking cave, you piece of shit, trash.
I told you, Jay. He's creep down, dude.
Oh, I get so mad. And you know what? I'm mad because they duped me with their Christian organization. And that makes me really mad. Because I didn't know that lunatics like this, and I didn't know their beliefs were that deep and slanted. It's gross. I would have never, ever even uttered their name. I mean, I really have no tolerance for that. And this guy's probably a pedo.
I'm telling you, we were having a party. But when they convicted Charlie, I said, we can't let this happen. We're going to have to get him out. So I joined the plot with other Manson family members to break Charles Manson out of the Los Angeles County Jail. How many of the Los Angeles County Jail has lots of inmates? We're going to need a lot of guns.
Dude, he doesn't regret anything he did. He doesn't regret it at all.
Not. No,
he's proud of it.
He is. Oh, wow. How did he get out, but Tex didn't?
Because he didn't kill anyone.
He stole a stockpile of weapons. Why were they going to go? Why'd they kill David Koresh? Because he had a stockpile of weapons. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of hypocrisy here.
Don't know, Jay.
Don't know. Let's
Don't
keep
know.
going. Wait till we get some MK Ultra.
So we held up an Army surplus store in Hawthorne, California. We had 160 guns stacked out beside our van when the police arrived responding to a silent alarm triggered by a clerk. We came out the back of the store. We blew out the front of their car with a shotgun. They'd been in the car. They would have been dead, and I wouldn't be standing here right now. But they got out of their car. They were hiding behind a wall on the other side of the alley. When we got back into our van, they opened fire on us. They put 50 holes in that van. I could feel bullets creasing my scalp and passing my body after what seemed like an eternity of gunfire until it lasted about 7 minutes.
Cut his mic! Cut his mic! What?
Seriously, put that guy in SAG.
What the hell?
Involving the police departments of 5 cities, we were arrested in the same jail we had planned to liberate, the Los Angeles County Jail. Spent the next 7 years, in San Quentin prison. But it was during that time that God became real to me, and I bowed my knee on the floor of that prison cell, May the 14th, 1978, and God totally turned me around 180 degrees, and I've never been back to jail or prison ever since. 34 years, man.
Sounds like a frickin' political rally to me. Picture Mike Pence with this clown and other focus on the family people. Good Lord.
Let me ask you something. Where are you going to be in 34 years? Well, hopefully you're going to be out there with us. But how are you going to do that? Well, I'll tell you, this is the way out. This is the way out. I went to jail, went to prison for trying to break someone out of jail. And I'm back here today to do the same thing.
Yeah, this guy's a scammer, man. He's telling these guys basically, fake that you found God, fake it, and your ass will get out.
Yep. He has zero remorse for anything he did.
Wow. Ew, I really don't like this man.
To break down all that stinking thinking that has you getting here, God, you ain't here in the first place. That's right. We want to see you out there with us. Amen. I'm sick and tired of these places, are you? I've seen enough steel and concrete to last me for a lifetime. I've seen enough death to last me for a lifetime. In 1 year in my prison, we saw 87 men stabbed. 12 of them died. One slipping around his own blood right in front of my cell. I said, you know what? I don't want no more of this. I want to get out. I want to stay out. And God, if you have a plan, I'm a player. And here we are, 34 years later. The 4 kids I had before I went to the penitentiary, that wound up in foster homes, juvenile hall, and orphanage. Today, they are all born-again Christians in ministry.
My God. His kids, and he's proud of this. He's proud of everything he did, and his poor children ended up in foster care and juvenile detention. But it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's great because 2 of them became ministers.
I am disgusted.
That's sick.
So I keep pressing play.
Missionaries, evangelists, Bible study leaders, and they all point back to this convict and tell them, we knew God was real when we saw him change our dad. They're looking at you, Dad, and they're going to follow you. How many here have kids? I want you to know there's hope for your kids. I made every mistake as a parent. When I finally came to the end of myself on the floor of a prison cell in a place just like this, God totally turned it around, and today all 4 of those kids are born-again Christians. I never have to worry about them being in a place like this. There's hope for your family. My Bible says, he whom the Son sets free is what? He whom the Son sets free is what?
Who is his entourage? Did you see his entourage?
The other prisoners.
Yeah, but they're like free. They're behind him. Look. I gotta mute his fucking ass. No, watch when he turns over here and he points like, these guys, They're like in the free part. Who are they? Ex-prisoners? Like they're, I don't know. My God, goodness. Ugh.
Stay free. And I got out of prison, became faithful in a local church, and I've been out for 34 years, and if it doesn't work, somebody better tell me, all right? Okay, here we are. Appreciate the opportunity to come. Appreciate your attention. Someday, you're going to be standing here holding this microphone. Someday, this is going to be your job. Because they'll listen to you when they won't listen to anybody else. Those young people out there in juvenile hall, those kids, they want to hear what you have to say. If you've been to the end of the road, they're on.
God, that guy can't listen to no more.
He does sound like a politician.
Yeah. It reminds me just like political rallies.
Yep. He's not out there trying to help them and save them. He is preaching an ideology, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to...
I don't even know what he's doing. I think A, he's probably swindling people out of a bunch of money.
Oh, yeah.
And B, I mean, I'm still stuck on the whole focus on the family thing, because for them to endorse someone like this, he's a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's an outright lunatic. I mean, I can't imagine. He acts like just because his kids, like, oh, they're born again. Dude, those kids lived in a freaking cave. I think it's a little deeper than just being born again and the slate being cleaned. Sorry for using that term, but yeah. I don't know. I think people like this, they seem not really important in the grand scheme of things, but they really are. Because a lot of these people are infiltrated into things that I'm familiar with. And that trips me out. Like, I don't like that.
Well, even with his obituary, like, they went into the whole Manson stuff and how he turned his life around. Like, his whole life was based off of Manson.
Yeah, that's gross. And then to be in this, you know, whatever, focus on the family crap. Is that, oh, there he is. Ex-Manson follower spreads, oh wait, can you guys see that or no? Or no, there it is again. Maligator's rubbing off on me or no?
Or no.
Or no. Or no. This is from 2009. Ex-Manson follower spreads the good word in Taos. Taos. What is that? All right, we're going to read this. It's 7 p.m. on a Thursday evening, October 15th, and the flock of Potter's House Church are witnessing a miracle. He's a thin, white-haired man, about 70, with an affable smile and a tie. He is Dennis Rice. And it wasn't so long ago that the only thing he believed in was Charlie Manson. Oh,
see,
my
I told you, he uses Manson to advance his agenda, I guess.
Rice, along with cohorts that included Catherine Gypsy Scher, were arrested with some 200 weapons in their possession. Now Rice says he's turning his torment into salvation. My gosh, do you guys hear that thunder?
No.
It was like the longest piece of thunder. That was like the longest thunder I've heard in a long time. Wow. Oh, look at this. Rice is the first to say that when preaching to prisoners, he brings anything that will draw a crowd. Anything from circus performers, weightlifters, NASCAR drivers, and athletes.
What the hell?
Once he's got their attention, he talks to them about his experiences with Manson to help them learn from their own mistakes. Rice spoke candidly about his time with the family working in Hollywood, trying to support 4 children on his own, experimenting with drugs, and becoming involved in pornography sales. I'm done. I knew it. I knew this mofo. There was more to him. Rice says he was looking for meaning in the 60s and instead found Manson. I was thinking a revolution was the solution to America's problems. I took my 4 kids out to Spawn Ranch for a year and a half. We met Charlie, so he was there before.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they were in the cave?
No, it was after because he was already in jail.
Oh, yeah. He took his kids out there before.
Yeah,
I took my
he
4
met
kids. Yeah, because Manson was there.
Yeah.
I took my 4 kids out to Spawn Ranch for a year and a half. We met Charlie and spent a lot of time with the family. I remember thinking how wonderful that someone was going to clean up this mess. What?
Does he mean that he met Manson when he was in prison? Because he did go and visit him, didn't he?
He did. He visited him in prison.
We met Charlie and spent a lot of time. Okay, let me keep reading. The late Susan Atkins, who murdered people in the name of Manson, expressed a similar sentiment. It took an intervention to make Rice change his mind. Fellow inmates, fascinated by Rice's affiliation with the family, approached him about Christianity. I thought I already knew Jesus. After all, I knew Charlie. I was so impressed by what Charlie would say and how other people thought of him. He never came out and said it, but everything he had to say alluded to him being the person of Jesus Christ. Who else would say that? After all the years in devotion to the family, Rice says the prison fellowship offered him something he'd been looking for all along, acceptance. I thought, how remarkable. Why are they even talking to me? Weird. I was already seeking truth in the 60s. When you give your life for a lie and you realize it, you certainly want to know the truth. So I decided if Charlie isn't Jesus, who is? Blah, blah, blah. So in other words, he's just making a living off his stupid choices, and he's a wacko. He's a scary individual to me.
I mean, look at him in that picture.
I know. It's icky. He was selling porn? Of who? You know?
I didn't dig into that. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you really probably could dig on every one of these people and find so much stuff, you know? I don't think that Charlie ever said that he was Jesus Christ. I've never heard anyone say he said that. I think they said that.
Yeah. He didn't say it, but other people believed he was.
He didn't correct them.
No, he's not going to.
But he didn't say it. He did not.
He did act out like being on the cross and stuff, though. Like he cut his hands and things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who was talking about that. I think it was Susan Atkins.
I know. I can't remember either. I'm having nightmares about these people, okay?
I watched so much stuff. Like
yes, I'm kind of Beach Boyed out. I kind of watched a lot of Beach Boys to find out about this Dennis Wilson, and I think I found like some pretty good clips, and you guys found some really good stuff. I think that we have covered the men like really, really thoroughly. I think this is really good. Thank you guys. You guys did a really good job.
Yeah, it's been so interesting because I didn't know about the others.
I know, it's kind of funny how they all intertwine.
Yeah. And it's weird how it all just starts making sense as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary when it starts making sense and all.
Yes.
All right, you guys. No, Mr. Positive, it didn't lapse. I changed the tiers. Hello, Mr. Positive. Nice to see you, by the way. But I didn't have to change the tiers. I changed the tiers and then it canceled all the reverters. But thank you for rejoining. It looks like he rejoined. I can't tell on this platform, but Muffin Top said congrats. Thank you, Mr. Positive.
Yeah, they rejoined.
Yeah, now it's time to turn on Unsolved Mysteries because that's less creepy. Is that sad? When you feel like you feel comforted by unsolved miseries. Oh my goodness. So I'm really, really intrigued. So next episode, we are going to be covering the Tate, Susan. Why am I having name problems today? Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, the Frankowski and the Folger girl. Yes, email me, Mr. Positive. And it's just interesting, like the Folgers girl, you know, she was like the heir to the Folgers coffee empire. You know, what would her life have been like?
She seemed like such a sweet, innocent person.
She did. And, you know, Krenwinkel chased her out the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Tex went and stabbed her some more.
Yeah. Horrible. You know, she was laying in her bed reading a book. Now, Sharon and Jay were in the master bedroom, which is an interesting place for them to be together. And we'll get into more of that as we cover Roman Polanski, which I know everybody loves to hate him. I saw a lot of comments earlier. Next episode, Polanski. So we're going to need some time to get this one together because this is going to be a lot. So hopefully, I don't know. We can't make any promises, but yeah, there's every character that is involved in some way is very interesting, I think.
They definitely are.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Parent, for sure.
Yeah, that poor boy.
Yeah, he was the first one.
Yeah, we want to make sure we don't miss anybody, and we want to make sure that we're as thorough as possible because we don't want to do this again. We want to know that we pretty much looked into everything and we can kind of put this past us, which I think will be a really nice feeling, won't it? To just box this one up and put it in the vault.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting, and I want to thank everybody for listening. Thanks, you guys, for your hard work and everything else. And we're going to end this with what we started it with because I don't have anything else.
And because it's awesome.
And it's going to creep you out on your way out the door. We're not dancing it out. We're going to creep town dude it out tonight.
Dramatic ending.
Creep town, dude. All right. Good night, guys. Bye, Carrie. I hope they don't laugh at you. Bye, Shell. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
And you can't do anything with that. He said they're out there playing rock and roll.
Hi, Charlie, baby.
Giant Felix symbol pointing at you. All my latent tendencies are just